all times. Extreme caution is required when approaching areas with high concentrations of fans. Do not take unnecessary risks that endanger. And back at it here once again as we welcome you along the World Wide Web at RacerTV.com for our continuing coverage here on GNCC Live. We pick the action back up now here in beautiful sunny South Carolina with our UTV racing action as we celebrate the 20th running of the VP Fuels Big Buck GNCC. Rodney Tomlin along with Megawatt Matt Watson, also our GNCC pastor Chuck LeMaster will be along to help with the race call here shortly as well, and keeping us up to date with everything that is going to be taking place. And friends, I tell you, the stage is set. We just witnessed nearly a historical event with Bryson Neal so close to taking that first ever XC1 Pro Class and overall win, but Adam McGill pops it off there at the very end and tops off the big win and gets his first win of 2016. Couldn't come at a better time. And of course, with that being said, we are down here now getting ready for more of this great GNCC racing action. We have some 17 rows of racers and an average of at least 5 on every row. So you do the math in that one. We have got a boatload of UTVs that are out here with us today as we are now watching Ricky Towery up near the first turn there as he is trying to get the orchestra calmed down here and get things ready to go as we get set to go UTV racing here in the GNCC Racing Nation. And looks like the start sequence has already began there as Ricky Towery has made his way out of the first turn and signaled those teams that we are now down to 1 minute and now less than a minute to go for this start of the UTV race. And Ricky Towery checks the watch. Row number 1 coming up here is going to be part of our XC1 Pro class. Our 4 riders there on row 1 will be the number 70 car of Jamie McCoy, the 181 car, Jason Luberg, the 321 of Jerry Bowling, and the 422 of Cody Miller. Blue flag is out. Shut them down, guys. Shut them down. Shut them down. We are now less than 30 seconds away from going UTV GNCC racing here in South Carolina as Ricky Towery readies these riders and lets them know it's time to go in 10 seconds for row number 1 of this XC1 Pro UTV class here at the BP Fuels Big Buck GNCC. Cars starting off in waves, and time adjustment will tell the tale at the end of the tape here today. But right now, to kick things off in the early part of the race, it's going to be the Reimer car taking the early lead in that one. They were backed by Kicker and those guys. I'd say that was probably one of our former ATV motocross stars, and maybe Luberg or Cody Miller or somebody. But row 2 getting ready to go. Kyle Cheney, Travis Pointer, also John Barnes, Bob Nether, and Pete Libby now rolling into the first turn as they try to get it sorted out. Of course, the number 1 car of Kyle Cheney, your defending champion here from 2015. And he gets off to what looks to be a pretty good start here. Row 3 will be Bill Patterson, Tim Farr, John Yoakley, Kevin Trantham, Cole Secoy, Stephen Matko, and Zach Zakowski. And they're off in this one. Zakowski Motorsports driver Zach Zakowski racing the 4x4 Pro class a little while ago, or this morning, getting off and started here. But it's Coastal Racing car that gets out front first here. And that might have been John Yoakley, actually. Row 4, Mouse Pratt, Sean Bogdan. Also Paul Greenwood, Justin Luknick. We got Clint Zettner, Robert Boynton, and Craig Greenwood. 28 car got the inside line there, Justin Luknick. Let's see if Luknick is going to be able to hold on to that. It's the 5 car at the end of it all, Mouse Pratt. Row 5, Michael Swift, Devin Steedley, Justin Fleming, Richard Curley, and Craig Bland. There are your XC1 pros. That is row number 5. One more row of XC1 pros, and we go to the XC2 Pro Sport. Up front, it is the 33 car. Look at that, wow. 33 car is Devin Steedley. Now we got Tim Marshall and Mitch Guthrie getting ready to roll into that first turn. Chelsea Taylor excited about that. She knows who that is. I love it. Here we go. We got the 731 car of Tim Marshall ahead of Mitch Guthrie there to kick things off. So let's go down the XC2 Pro Sport. Joe Kreselich, also John Henry, Richard Travalina, David Plavy, and Brian Riggs. XC2 Pro Sport off and rolling now. Oh, triple nickels. Wee-ha! The 555 car, David Plavy grabbing the lead in that one. That right there was beautiful right there. We got row 8 coming up next. Chris Brockway, Jonathan Powers, Jamie Hell, Christopher Hale, and Richie Nolan, XC2 Pro Sport class. That was a sight to see on that last start. That dude, it was the perfect trick. Looked like he had right brakes and left brakes and everything else going on there. He had her dialed in. Oh, mercy! A little bump and grind action, and
That slows down the whole field. The 27 car, though, comes out on top. Jonathan Powers as we go to road 9. Seth Mitchell, Chris Wolf, Hunter Miller, Andrew Ebbets, along with Gary Conklin, Chris Foy, and Corey Bartlett. And we round that first turn. It's the 9-0 car, the 90. That's got to be Cody Miller, I think. Let's double check that. Hunter Miller, I'm sorry, Hunter Miller. It's a Miller boy, though. We go to row 10, Brett Wingfield. Uliana Leo, I believe that's Leo Uliana. Lucas Weheimer, also Josh Davis and Denny Aubrey. Wow. Wow, this is that one. That's got to be one of those new Yamahas. Wah, wah, wah. It's like a street bike going up through there. 777 car. Making the grade there is Josh Davis in row 10 of the XC3 Pro-Am. That's your first row in XC3 Pro-Am. Second row, Jeff Modlin, Spencer Modlin, Scott Vetcheries, Josh Gidmore, Jim Guggenauer, and Eric Gordon. I tell you, after watching David Plavy, man, all these starts have just been kind of mundane. 769 car. 769. Or is it? I don't know. I don't see the 769 there. So we go down to the next row, which I believe has Brandon White, Dan McConaughey, and Bud Lalter. .38 of Dan McConaughey. Out front. So that looked like maybe Brandon White in the second place, Bud Lalter in third. Amateur Modifieds coming up. That was the Lights UTVs, by the way. These are amateur modifieds heading up. Justin Rosini, Darren Oakley, and Chad Moret. We got row 14 going to be coming up here in just a moment. Wow. See, we got riders like Bill Ross, Daniel Hunyadi, Brandon Hayden, Josh Luktik, and also Bern McCourt. Wow, 34 car, Bill Ross getting a good start there. Bill Ross, I believe, going to get the early lead in this one. As we look back next to now Amateur Limited, led out by Utility Pioneer, Mike Penland, Paul Yerkson, John Higgins, Wade Poole, and Dakota Stewart now. Amateur Limited class. The 31 car, yeah, Mike Penland. Max's back driver there. Mike Penland, as we said, is, well, I think the pioneer of UTV racing, or one of the pioneers in side-by-side UTV racing, but also a pioneer of the 4x4 utility ATV racing. He helped basically build careers for a lot of folks out there that are doing it today. The number 16 row, Amateur Limited, row number 2, Vicky Fowler, Troy Bigelow, Stephen Golden, and Brent Kennedy making their way up through the first turn region now. And holding on to the early point here, Big Eds. I'm not sure who that was now that I see. Was that Vicky? Row 17 is going to be Austin Seelig, August Agner, Donald Harrison, Jeremy Wallace, Jason Golden, and Derek Foster. By the way, Vicky Fowler, the mother of Walker Fowler, out there on that last row just a moment ago. And here comes our final row. 144, Austin Seelig. Austin Seelig takes the early lead in that row, and that, my friends, is the start to the UTV race. They're not going to be over here anymore, so if you guys want to go watch UTV racing, head over on the other side and down by the finish. If you're near the track, you see black arrows on a white background. The black arrows with white background, black arrows signify the UTV course. Well, that does it as far as the start is concerned down here at the Big Buck GNCC. As far as things are concerned, for those of you at home right now watching along the World Wide Web at RacerTV.com, GNCC Live continues right after this.
When it comes to guarding your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance enthusiast demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond protection it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Razor, Ranger, Sportsman, Ace. If you live for the outdoors, there's a Polaris to match your passion. Confident, comfortable, capable. That's Ace. With a solo cockpit, automotive controls, independent suspension, all-wheel drive, and up to 45 horses of fuel-injected power. Calling it revolutionary would be an understatement. Polaris, the world leader in off-road innovation.
Maxxis Tires.
CST Tires.
You smell it, you feel it, you can taste it in the air. Speed, man. Full wide open. Blast. I didn't really like high school too much. Too booky, too take notes, learn this, and that's it. Yeah, WildTech, they have full-size motorcycles. The feeling of taking them apart every day, putting them back together. You can't explain it. Everything I learned applies to now. Seeing your motorcycle that you put together right around the track at 180 miles an hour, oh, definitely rewarding. My name's Mike. My school's WildTech.
Get on the fast track to a career, turn pro at WildTech.
I've been with Liat for a lot of years, and I know the dedication they have for safety. When they told me they were coming out with a helmet, I signed right up.
And welcome back to the, this is actually the 9th running of the UTVs at Big Buck, South Carolina. And welcome to the VP Racing Fuels Big Buck here in Union, South Carolina. I am Chuck Leemaster and joined in booth with Matt Watson. And you just heard from Rodney Tomlin, who was able to launch all those UTVs off the line. And we are into the first round, the first lap of this race right now. And as you can see from your view on live TV right now, there is a lot of dust out there, and that's because this is a beautiful, beautiful day here in South Carolina. The sun is shining, it's 68 degrees, and it's a beautiful day to be here at the racetrack. Unfortunately, that makes a little bit of conditions for these guys to go into, as the dust is really picking up with these machines that are out there on the course right now. As I'm joined here with Matt Watson. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you so much, Chuck. Glad to be here. And I love commentating these UTV events with you because you're such a knowledgeable expert, man. You've been involved in the sport. You've driven the machines. And I tell you what, I learn so much every time I sit here with you. So looking forward to today's race.
Well, thanks a lot, Matt. It's a pleasure for me to be here as well. And as I alluded to just a minute ago, this was actually the start of it all 9 years ago. 2008 was the first year that GNCC ever ran a full UTV series. At the end of 2007 at Ironman, they actually had a test run, if you will, of UTVs, right, and learned that, well, we could race these things. So come 2008, let's see what happens. And Big Buck was round number 1 for a 4-round series back there in 2008. And that round was won by William Yoakley.
Wow, that's incredible. And you know what? This morning we had another Yoakley take a win in the single-seat class. Sam Yoakley got him a win this morning. So, and right now we're being joined in the studio by our third-place finisher this morning, Jessie Strake, and we'll get Jessie hooked up with a set of headsets here. We'll get her plugged in and get her comments on exactly what the track was all about this morning and what's taking place at hand right now.
Well, as we organize ourselves here in the booth, we would definitely like to hear from Jessie Strawham. Jessie was a woman's ATV racer for a long time here on the series. And Jessie actually was introduced to UTV racing right near the start, because I remember having her as a co-driver with me. I think it was at St. Clairsville.
Yeah, it was. I broke my collarbone. Or I tore everything in my collarbone or something. I was injured, and I came and rode with you. And that was a good time. You're not the best driver.
Oh, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. We actually had a lot of fun that race. And, of course, anytime you get in the car like that, it's going to be a good time. Whether you're banging handlebars or banging roll cages, it's racing.
Oh, it is. I completely tore apart the front end of my car today. They stopped in the woods. Who does that? And I just slammed
people that
in
get
the
stuck.
back of them. No, yeah, they hit a tree or something.
Yes.
And I don't think they understand that you're not supposed to do that.
No. Well, I think everybody understands you're not supposed to do it, but by accident, things happen. So you actually had a good race going this morning.
Until I rolled. Yeah, I was running about 4th, and then I rolled over. I think you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Me and Derek got her back on 4 wheels, and you know what? Not only did she regain race pace, man, she started picking people off left and right and improved her position after she lost 3 or 4 positions, went from the 4th place up to a podium position by the last lap, man. Incredible ride today, Chuck.
Did you hit panic mode?
I did. I was like, man, if I don't start getting it together, Polaris is just going to kick me off this team.
She came in, the front end was smashed up, man. She had dents all over that thing. There was damage from left to right, but you know what? The grin looked just like that, and we ended up with the 3rd place.
Yeah, you could see the grin through the helmet.
You could.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
I was just so pumped. I'm always pumped in that car.
Now, Jessie, you're sitting here with us, and the folks at home, maybe they're not familiar with you, with your story. You were a women's pro ATV racer here on GNCC. Actually won a women's pro ATV race, didn't you?
No, I did amateur.
Amateur, okay.
Yeah.
You won a championship with the amateur. I'm getting everything wrong. You've been around for a long time with it.
Yes.
And you took a couple years off, and during one of those off years had a terrible accident on a street bike, and you're right now, the TV doesn't show it, but you're actually in a wheelchair and been going through rehab for over a year.
Yeah.
And you're back here at GNCC.
I actually got out of the hospital the week of Big Buck last year. Came here, rode in the Kimco with Dan McConaughey.
Fantastic. And so you're full circle again, back to Big Buck.
You always, yeah, you know, GNCC Racing's home for a lot of people. We are a big family, and I mean, every weekend we come together, and I think we prove that.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right that this is a big family, and whether we're racing 2 wheels, 4 wheels with a cage, it's GNCC Racing, and this is family, and it's awesome to see you back out here, to have the support that you have. I know that you've also gotten some exposure in the regular media, if you will,
yes,
with some TV
there's an
exposure.
article on today.com, and they actually linked GNCC to it just last week.
So you're bringing GNCC into the mainstream.
Oh, of course. If I'm going to the top, you guys are coming with me.
Nice, nice. Well, we are thrilled to see your success, and just praying for you, and also I follow you on social media, and I know that you have small steps that are coming along in your road to recovery as well.
I actually showed up here yesterday in my braces, and I'm over in the pits like with my walker standing around. I was like, hey guys, I'm on eye level.
That's fantastic, Jessie.
A lot of the UTV guys, they've never seen me standing. They didn't know me as well as now. Like, clearly I'm here. People know me. They see me. They're like, oh, hey, that's Jessie, the girl in the pink ace. But
yeah, the pink ace.
It's different when you add a few feet to me rather than being 4'3".
Well, we are looking forward to that day, and we know that you're working hard, but you've had a full life and really been making the most out of things the last year. And part of that is here at GNCC, and you keep referring to the ACE race.
Yes.
And the ACE came along last year, Polaris, the single-seater, not side-by-side, but it's a single-seat ATV with a roll cage and steering wheel, and been racing them.
Oh, yeah. We go out there. We're just as aggressive as these guys. I mean, if you look at them, they're constantly banging against each other, and it's a good time watching it. I think the Ace race, we're getting more and more people involved. Every race, there's more entries. I mean, we had 10 today. I remember last year when I started, we only had 6 entries, so it's a huge difference.
It's growing, and with this, I mean, it's not with the UTV and the Ace racing, you don't just show up and race like you might on a dirt bike or a four-wheeler, because there's fire suits, fire extinguisher, and special ignition. We've got all these rules to keep our racers safe and our spectators safe. And so you don't just show up, but the point is that more and more people are putting the effort and the money into coming out here, and the sport is growing.
And, I mean, I think the Ace really is a great tool for somebody that wants to start racing and has never been there and done it before. So that person that is like, hey, I want to try this. I have an ATV, but I'm not sure where to go from it. Or I have a bike, but I don't want to be on that competitive level. So I think it's a great tool to get us in and get everyone out here at GNCC racing.
Well, and the opposite is true as well, that with age comes cage. We say that a lot on the UTV
hear
series.
That a lot.
Now, for the folks at home and actually folks here at the track, you're wondering who is winning this race right now. We're having some technical difficulties, and Megawatt Matt Watson, you just saw him do the escape out of the booth here. We're going to find out for you. We'll get you up to date on those results just as soon as possible. But for right now, Jesse, you've already been out there. What can you tell me about what these drivers are facing right now on this terrain?
A lot of dust. It's a very dry, dusty, typical big buck fashion fast track. It's a really good time. I mean, we can see here on the screen, it's really dusty. You can't really make the cars out.
Now with 68 degrees, sunshine, blue skies, I'm looking out the booth, straight out the booth, and 10 minutes ago we had blue skies in front of us. Right now we have a brown sky in front of us because all the dust that's coming up off the track, and you can see on our live feed right now, all that dust as these cars are going around, and they're 1,400 pounds, they're kicking up the dust, and not only does it make the sky a little brown, but it also impairs the driver's ability to see what the next obstacle is. And as you were saying, Jesse, there's a lot of square edge bumps out there at Big Buck that are particular to this track.
Exactly. I mean, the stumps, the bumps, it gets rutted out, and we got a dense fog going on out there, so.
Exactly. It's like riding in a fog. So you can't see what's coming up. You can't see the best line, where to go. You're just hitting these things and plowing into them. And what that's going to happen is going to start to wear on the front end components of these cars.
Yeah.
And we're going to start seeing some broken tie rods, some steering boxes, and some challenges. And we'll probably start to see some of these cars having to get towed shortly.
And as they get towed in, we'll try and find out what's going on.
All right, well, folks, for the moment right now, as we work on our technical difficulties, we would like to give you a word from our sponsors. So we'll be back after this short break.
When it comes to protecting your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance truck owners demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Maxxis Tires.
Here at Rocky Mountain ATV our goal has always been to get you the best price and provide quality service. Now, we're giving you one more reason to shop with Rocky Mountain. We call it Quick Cash. It's simple to get. Just place an order with a qualifying Quick Cash item and get cash to spend on your next order. Try it out today. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
The Andersons discovered life is easier with an Outlaw RV. The Outlaw is a complete home on wheels with a multifunctional garage. Getting on the road has never been quicker. The Outlaw is made to fit the lifestyle of today's active families. So stop roughing it and start enjoying your weekends. Find the Thor Motor Coach Outlaw that fits your needs at GarageRVs.com today.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser. Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best? The best. You have to have the best equipment under the hood. That's why I only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
for those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
All right, and welcome back to the Big Buck GNCC. We are UTV Racing, and sitting here in the booth with Jesse Strawham and Dan the Man, who is working on our technical difficulties. In the meantime, we'll give a shout out to AT&T and iPhone, and I'll bring you the live results. This is after 2 laps complete. Kyle Chaney leads this race right now. Michael Swift in the number 2 position, behind by only 8 seconds. Jamie McCoy is in the 3rd place position. Jamie McCoy was on the podium at our first round in Florida. Jamie was in the number 3 spot at the end of the day there. He is currently in the number 3 spot today. The only repeat top 3 driver right now. So it goes Kyle Chaney, Michael Swift, Jamie McCoy, followed by XC2 driver Joe Kraselich and David Plavi, who, if I'm not mistaken, David Plavi actually pulled a nice hole shot, and somehow Joe has managed to get around him. So we've got Joe Kraselich leading the XC2 Pro Sport, David Plavi in the number 2 place, John Yoakley in the number 6 place overall. John Henry, also in Polaris, is on the number 7th place. John Barnes, number 8. Travis Pointer, a familiar name to the GNCC Nation, is in the 9th place position. And Cody Miller rounds out the top 10. Worthy note is that Tim Farr is in the 11th position, followed by Bill Patterson. Both of those guys have been on the podium multiple times.
The top
here.
Guys.
Yeah, these are usually the top guys, as Jesse points out. And they're running back in 11th and 12th right now. So I've got to say, speculate that the dust is coming into play here.
Yeah, the dusty conditions and the probably rough track conditions are.
Well, not to mention that Florida, we've never raced UTVs in Florida, and so it had to be different. It couldn't just be the same guys.
It was.
So we had a big shakeup in Florida. Now, the way that you finished in Florida determines how you start at round number 2, which happens to be Big Buck. So the number 1 points leader, he gets the kind of like Supercross qualifying. You get the front row. So, you know, a lot of our normal suspects, usual suspects, are starting on rows 2 and 3, and I'm sure that has to do with some of what we're seeing right now. It looks like Dan the Man has got us up and running, so we can go through the Megawatt. Do you have the XC2 class? We can pull that up real quick. Looks like Joe Kraselich is in the lead over David Plavi. John Henry, Hunter Miller in the 4th place, Jonathan Power in 5th place, Richard Travalina in 6th place, followed by Brian Riggs in 7th, Chris Brockway in 8th, Andrew Evans in 9th, and Christopher Hale in the 10th place position.
Hey, Chuck, do you happen to know? Hey, Chuck, do you happen to know Joe Kraselich, Little Joe? Have you spent much time around him?
I know him, but I haven't spent a whole lot of time with him.
He's an amazing guy. Let me tell you something. The guy works a full-time job, 40 hours a week. The guy spends all night in the garage working on everything from 90cc quads on up to these side-by-sides, single-seat aces and stuff. The guy's an amazing fabricator, a tuner, and the whole deal. And let me tell you something. So far today, he's been behind the scenes probably with about 6 or 7 class winners today, just offering free help and support, man. Joe Kresslich's a heck of a guy.
That's awesome. We love – that's part of what Jesse was saying earlier is how GNCC is such a togetherness. You know, it's a family. We say that over and over, but we prove it over and over as well.
Well, I tell you, he acts like everybody over there in his neck of the woods in PA. If they have any problems in the Carmichael's area, they know that the door's open at Joe's place, man. Whether it's 2 wheels, 4 wheels, a truck even, or a boat, man, bring it over to Joe's place, and it's going to leave faster and better looking.
That's
wow, on top
great.
of a full-time job.
Yes, sir. Yep, absolutely. Great guy.
Let's we'll go ahead and take a look at our XC3 Pro-Am once it pulls up here and get all of our our race fans out here up to date. Looks like Josh Davis is leading that.
Explain to the folks a little bit what XC3 is, what kind of machine it is. It's not the fully modified machine. It has less travel and that type of thing. It's more of a production type of machine.
Right. They have to follow based on how the machine was actually built. So it affords to keep it keeps the price down so that people can stand to get into it.
Exactly, no doubt about it. And what that also does is, man, that really keeps tight racing. It really keeps the machines even in power and suspension, travel, acceleration, that type of thing. So, man, you're going to get a little tighter racing in some of these classes a lot of times because the performance of the bike can't be modified as much.
Exactly, and as you mentioned that, it looks like our number 2 of Josh Davis leads this class. Brett Wingfield is in second place by only 5.8 seconds. So there's a little battle going on there. And Spencer Maudlin is in the third place position. He follows by 43 seconds, but anything can happen. He traveled a long way to get here, all the way from Omaha, Nebraska.
Holy cow, and you know what? This has to be a lot different terrain than Nebraska. You know, riding a side-by-side and racing a side-by-side in Nebraska has to look a bit different than it does here and a little farther north, I'm sure.
Yeah, and there's some hills out here. I've been to Nebraska.
The terrain is really unique as well with the clay. It makes for a very thick, different type of terrain, especially in the turns. So there's a lot more bite in the tire, and you can't really duplicate that anywhere else.
You're exactly right. And, you know, bike guys talk about that constantly, the amount of grip that you get in this clay. And like you said, unless you truck it in, like the Supercross guys do, you're not going to replicate that anywhere. And the only way to pick up how that feels is to ride in it.
Exactly.
Yeah. It looks like in our UTV Lights class, it's Bud Lauter is running an uncontested lap number 1 right now. Some of these classes have combined, or people have moved out of them to go into things like amateur modified, which is an amateur class, but you're allowed to modify your UTV. Josh Lukatic is in the lead there. Justin Rossini is in second place. Chad Moray in third. Bill Ross in fourth, and Daniel Hunidedi. I'm not sure I did him justice on that, but Daniel from Carmichael, PA, he probably has a little bit of Crusellage backing on him.
Oh, I guarantee he's been to Little Joe's shop.
I'm sure if you're from that area, he rounds out the top 5.
Awesome day here we got today. It's amazing to watch this track remain intact. The amount of vehicles that have been on this thing, and everything from a 70cc CVT this morning to 4x4 Pro machines, the single-seat machines, our sportsman class, our full sport quads XC1 today. Now here we are, and you look at this place. This place is not beat yet. This place has all kinds of good racing lines, and the traction is still there. We haven't just turned to talcum powder yet. We haven't just turned to dust yet. So that tells me there was some moisture down deep, and we've been blessed here today.
You know, hats off to the track crew as well for keeping the track together and keeping us going all throughout the day. That's a lot of machines for one day.
You better believe it.
Yeah,
you know, not to mention different variety of wheelbases themselves and width, so track width. So you're going to have lines developing different with each race of the day. But you know what? It didn't matter what race. There was all kind of passing lines, and there was all kind of room to go fast.
Exactly.
Well, the track crew really has to get creative on these UTV races in order to accommodate these large machines. And it looks like they've done a great job today. We aren't seeing the tow trucks in full effect right now. As we look at our go back to our overall here, it looks like our XC1s guys have checked in on their third lap, and Kyle Cheney continues to lead this. Jamie McCoy is in the second place position now, and Cody Miller, number 3. Michael Swift in the 4th place. Tim Farr has moved up to 5th. Bill Patterson has moved up to 6th. John Yoakley in 7th, John Barnes in 8th, Jason Luberg in 9th, and Kevin Trantham in 10th. That drops Travis Pointer and Mouse Pratt back to 11th and 12th. And they have only checked in with their second laps, so still waiting on 3 laps for Mouse Pratt and Travis Pointer. But, Jesse, it goes back. We saw Tim Farr and Bill Patterson outside of the top 10 at the end of 2 laps. Now we're at 3 laps, and they're well inside fighting over that 5th place position.
It's crazy how quickly these guys can move up through the pack and really gain some positions. And a lot of these guys also, you know, you have to keep it in mind, they raced the morning race. Kevin Trantham, Michael Swift. You see them on the Pro UTV. And then you have Adam McGill, Jared McClure. They're both riding passenger after getting right off of a 2-hour race to hop in for another hour.
Jesse, I believe a couple guys from your class absolutely ran from like the finish line over to the start of the 10 o'clock race to get on either a sport quad or a 4x4 quad right after a single seat race. And I'm like, man, oh man, I can see the draw to that, you know, get a little extra time on the track. But I could tell you, my kidneys would have took a beating after that single seat race. I don't know that I've been able to even sit on a quad after that.
Oh, you set it up right, and I'm sure we'll get it set up just right for him. We'll put a couple rocks in the seat, and he'll be happy.
Well, I can tell you this much. I wouldn't know the first thing about really setting one up right, but I can tell you it's easy to see which cars are set up right, which buggies are set up right. Been around enough of this type of racing already to see that when the car's working, it is a definite advantage, more so than maybe on a bike or that type of thing, because we're talking about more horsepower, a bigger overall machine, and when the acceleration difference is that big between machines, then it's going to be easy to pick up time per lap.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, on our screen right now, we've got a three-way battle. I'm not even sure what position that's for, but we talked about close racing, and that's about as close as it gets right there.
You know, it never ceases to amaze me. We watch these 4x4 pro guys, our sportsman class kids. These guys finish 3, 4, 5, 10 seconds apart after 2 hours of racing, and it never ceases to amaze me that that happens. You think sooner or later, you know, you're going to get this big win, and that happens maybe once every 5 or 6 rounds. I cannot believe that these quads and these side-by-sides are literally able to push each other through the corners for 1, 2, and 3 hours. It's just amazing.
The biggest thing is to not lose sight of the person in front of you. As soon as you get stuck behind a lapped rider or anything, that usually is when the distance is put between. But if they can keep it pretty tight and get around those lapped riders well, you'll see them finish pretty close.
Yeah, the vision absolutely has to be key. If you can't look over through the corner, if you can't catch them into that next straightaway, then you lose sight of them. You're going to lose that drive, no doubt about it.
Exactly.
Now, it looks like we are going to
All right, folks, and while we're waiting on the leaders to come back through, we have a special interview here with Henry Turner, owner of the farm here, that we'd like to share with you.
When my son was 10 years old, I took him racing go-karts on a national series, and we're all over the East Coast. And a few years later, like 15 years later, he calls me up and says, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to a hare scramble. I want you to come and be my pit crew." And guess what? That year they needed a site for a national GNCC. I didn't even know what a cross country was at the time. 20 years later, this is what you get for asking. I've met people I would never known, made friends, had experiences. We've had almost no pushback in any negative fashion from anyone in the area, including politicians and businessmen. It's been unbelievable how they've come on board to welcome the GNCC family to South Carolina. These are real Americans. This is the real fabric of our society and our nation right here. These aren't the complainers. They aren't getting upset because what's on some sign somewhere. They're here getting the job done for all of America. That's what's coming to these races.
Wow.
Oh, man, absolutely unbelievable interview with the always colorful Henry Turner. And you know what? How many of those pictures brought back amazing memories for you, man, the history of this place?
Oh, they did. I saw a couple pictures of Barry Hawk in there, who is now managing a coastal team. And, yeah, those pictures were great. Several of them were taken at the creek jump, which we'll have to talk to the track crew about putting our UTVs out there. You know, I think that Mike Penland was featured in one of those photos, and he's actually driving one of the amateur modified machines right now, actually, or amateur limited machines. He won in Florida, and of course that's the Mike Penland, yes, who basically developed 4x4 ATV racing.
Mike Penland, no question, the godfather of utility quad racing.
Yes.
I just don't want to say 4x4, but utility quad racing. Let me tell you something. I've been in the business of retail, as you know, for over 25 years in the industry. So even though a two-wheel guy and possibly a quad guy sometimes, you always kept yourself involved with what's going on. And I can tell you, even if you weren't a quad buyer, even if you weren't a quad racer, you knew the name Mike Penland. Mike Penland did things in the racing community that affected two wheels, four wheels, and everybody as far as policy, strategies, rules, that kind of thing. And Mike Penland, not only the godfather of utility racing, but an innovator of all off-road racing.
Oh, I have to agree with you. You make a good point there. And thanks also to Mr. Turner, who we saw in that interview, and how he's talked about the local community here. You know, our parent company, MX Sports, who puts on Racer Productions and puts on the GNCC races, they also own Racer X magazine, and in this month's Racer X magazine, they talk about Cairo, the world's fastest little town in Cairo, Georgia, because Millsap's training facility is there. Georgia practice facility is there as well. And a lot of that article dealt with how the community had so much pushback against those motocross tracks being there, noise and dust. And so Henry Turner, I know through the years I've seen politicians come out here and beauty queens, and everybody comes out here. Everybody has a great time. Everybody leaves with a big smile, and nobody's complaining.
Doesn't matter who you are. Henry's going to get you out here. It doesn't matter,
That's true.
Politician, local celebrity, beauty queen, man. Henry's going to get you on board with these races. He's that kind of promoter, and he's that kind of enthusiast. No two ways about it. And you know what? We have a school visit, and I participated in the other day. And Henry, right down to the last minute, helping us get these school visits.
Well, Matt, there you are, right on the screen.
And you know, it's hard to get the community background, the backing from the community as different races come to town and everything.
Yeah, you know, this is we're looking at the school program right now. That Matt, you were able to go out to a local school and take a couple riders with you. It looks like you had Grant and Stu Baylor and Cameron Avery with you, and get to talk to these kids about anti-bullying and bring a real positive message to them, and have a little race there at the end. Nice. Did you give a little help there,
right
Matt?
Okay,
You what?
They brought oxygen to me right after what you got to say. But I want to say, Chuck, it was a little hesitation in my mind to take on the school program, because let me tell you something. You are a pastor, you're a reverend, and you are trained in delivering a message, and it comes from the heart and the soul. And you do such a great job relating to everybody from our 7-year-old 70cc riders to our super senior riders and everybody in between. And I was nervous about stepping into the program, but after going to a couple programs with you, watching these kids' faces and expressing those values that you taught, that each life has value, each one of the children's is as important as the next, the bullying program, the teamwork program. Let me tell you something. I've been blessed after each and every one of those meetings, and I want to tell you something. As hesitant as I was to step up to that with my other tasks that I have, let me tell you something. It's something I'm glad I'm doing.
Well, I'm glad you're doing it too, Matt. It looks like you're doing a great job with it, and certainly bringing a lot of smiles to those kids, and a memory that they're not going to soon forget.
Well, I just felt it was important that somebody try to do as good a job as you did.
Oh, well, thank you.
And no, I mean that, Chuck, because you're an absolute pro, and you do it from the heart. And when I watched the faces on those kids, for me to do it correctly and for me to get that message across was very important. And I tell you, thanks for all the advice and help you gave me.
Well, certainly you're welcome, and it's an honor to be able to give back to the community, whether it's doing the program, mentoring the next guy, or just being able to sit here and tell people about this is what my life is, and I can do it, you can too.
I don't know about you guys, but I definitely take away more. I volunteer in my community at home, and I take away more that I'm giving to them for sure, 100%.
You know what? That's awesome to be around people like that, Jesse. You know, I've had a problem since a teenager. I give away anything. All right, I do anything to help make somebody a little more successful, or just make life a little easier for them. I'm that guy to the point maybe where it hurts myself. But that's one thing you will find in our community, whether it's 2 wheels, 4 wheels, side-by-side people. You're always going to find a true dedication from the heart in our community, and that's what it takes to keep these riders growing in our sport. And it takes guys like Henry out there keeping us involved and keeping the schools open and involved for us.
Oh, man, big thanks to Henry Turner for all that he's done, not just for Big Buck, but Big Buck has become the pattern that many tracks are trying to emulate throughout the country. Right now, back to racing. It looks like we have 43 minutes and 19 seconds elapsed, 4 laps complete. So this is most likely going to come down to, we're running about 9-10 minute lap times, so we're probably got 2 more laps to go. Kyle Cheney continues to lead this race on the Can-Am out of Pascagoula, Ohio. He's got a 28-second lead over Cody Miller now. Jamie McCoy is in the 3rd place position. He's out of Kingsport, Tennessee. Looks like he's 14 seconds off of Cody Miller. So we've still got a little bit of a battle there. Tim Farr has moved into the 4th place position. Now in Florida, Tim Farr was actually leading the race, had some mechanical issues, fell back, don't even know where he finished, but that guy can drive. And so to come from behind today, we first saw him in 12th place position, and then he was in 5th, and now he's in 4th. And what's the next lap going to be? Well, it looks like Tim Farr is 12.5 seconds off the rear bumper of Jamie McCoy. I would not be very comfortable if I were Jeremy McCoy.
You better believe that, because right now at this type of track with the speeds that we have across it, 12.5 seconds, that's a couple blown corners. You get off into deep silt, you get high centered on a berm, and man, you're losing 5-6 seconds real quick. So only a couple corners could really separate these guys in the long run, and that's actually a tighter race than it looks.
You know, the other factor that comes in this stage of the race, being that we're 43 minutes into it, are lappers. And you get into some of those tight woods, and Big Buck is famous for having fast, wide-open sections like we see on our screen, and also have some tree sections where you've got to go in between the trees, in between the pine trees, and you get a lapper in there, man, that 12-second gap will zip right up.
And you know, you're not going to find those lappers in the field, are you, Jeff?
No.
You're not going to find them as soon as you bust out of the wood line. You're going to find them as soon as you hit the trees.
As soon as you hit the tight woods, there's only one line for about a mile. You're done.
Yeah.
And that horn does very little good in that position, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't even have a horn.
Well, I know that these guys, they definitely don't intend to be a roadblock. They want to let the racing happen and unfold, but it's part of GNCC racing, and we talk about it at every race, whether it's ATV, dirt bike, UTV. That's just a part of the race. It looks like Kyle Cheney's leading. Cody Miller, Jamie McCoy, Tim Farr in 4th, John Henry in 5th place. He's been working his way up through the ranks. Bill Patterson also working his way up to the 6th place position. John Yoakley holding down the 7th place. David Plavy in 8th place overall. David Plavy was in 2nd overall in Florida. He won the XC2 class, was 2nd overall. Looks like he is now leading the XC2 class and is 8th place overall. Jason Luberg in 9th place, and John Barnes rounds out the top 10. Kevin Trantham, one of our well-known racers from the ATVs in the morning, he's in the 11th place.
Kevin got a 3rd place this morning in the 4x4 Pro class, so actually rounded out our podium up there. It was Kevin Cunningham, Michael Swift, and Kevin Trantham.
And Trentham, he's such a soft-spoken, nice guy, but so fast. Don't underestimate him.
Don't let that niceness fool you.
Another one.
All right, hey, look at this. We're going to check in right now with Richard .418. He's checking in with us right now on how to use GNCC Live on Instagram. Be sure and use the hashtag GNCC Live. So absolutely checking us out. He's absolutely watching.
He's watching Supercross
and GNCC at the same time. So I dig how he watches GNCC.
I like that. I like that. Now, for those of you that are not aware, this is the St. Louis Supercross, and just because of some of the unrest in that city, they started the Supercross at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I think it was 2 o'clock Central Time, right. 3 o'clock our time over here. So a lot of the motorhomes throughout the paddock here at GNCC are tuned into Supercross right now and probably doing just like our Instagram follower and paying attention. One eye on GNCC and one eye on Supercross.
Man, dirt overload right there, man.
That's it's a good weekend.
You. Hey, looking forward to that new situation there with the daytime racing. Going to be in Foxborough next week myself for the Supercross, and man, it just reminds me of a national. Having practice in the morning, going through the qualifiers, and going to have that main event while it's still daylight. So a whole new feeling for Supercross.
Yeah, I like it. It's it looks like we've got the white flag out right now. I can't even figure out my colors because I'm so excited. We've got the white flag, means 1 lap to go, and we'll check in here since we see that 5 laps are now complete. Looks like Kyle Cheney is leading Cody Miller. They're the only 2 that have checked in, and some of that 20-plus second lead that Kyle Cheney had has been eroded. He's down to 9 seconds, 9.7 seconds over Cody Miller. We'll have time.
And that's like we were saying earlier, you know, one missed turn, one wrong move, a wrong line, anything, and they can close that gap very quickly.
You know, you can grab a bike and put it back in line real quick, you know, kick the front wheel and get it. You can grab a four-wheeler even, flop it back over. But if you flop one of these side-by-sides, even a single seat, and you do any kind of damage to the steering and suspension, it's not going to be such an easy task to get back on again. And holy cow. Look at this on the last lap. The Viton is going to go all the way to the finish line, Chuck. These guys, as we said, they're going to battle for that second, third, and fourth position, no doubt.
Oh, for sure. And what we're seeing on our screen right now was we've got one UTV that's kind of broken down in the infield. We had a lapper and somebody pass on the outside. And as Matt's reminded me, this race is going to come down to the finish because Kyle Cheney's only got a 9.5-second lead over second place.
So we've lost 14 seconds somewhere. He was 25 seconds ahead. So did we high center? Did we get into the silt? I watched these guys actually get into a just a little bit of a situation where they ran over brush. Next thing you know, a log gets stuck up through the steering.
Oh, man.
Reverse, forward, reverse, forward. There goes 30 seconds just to get back on track.
I forget where it was, but there was a year, it was probably 2009, 2010, where William Yoakley got stuck on a tree, and they had to go get a chainsaw and cut the tree down.
I want to say that was 2010. And, you know,
you remember that?
The family is really in the UTV side of everything. You have Sam Yoakley in the ace. He won the championship last year, taking the overall today. We have his cousin John Yoakley out there in the side-by-side pro. And then William's no longer racing with us as of now, but he may be back later this season.
In the game, no doubt about it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He was the pioneer of the UTV races altogether. He was one of the first out there, and, he's helped it grow to what it is today.
Well, back in the day, both William Yoakley and Tim Farr would leave the 1 o'clock race. They'd finish the 1 o'clock race, run and jump into their UTVs, and show up on the starting line and have a nice little battle. And there for a long time, many years, it was William Yoakley that was coming out on top. But we see that Tim Farr is still in the running, and he's still out here with something to prove. And waiting for him to check in right now and see if adjusted time is going to gain him any position. Looks like no. He is in the 4th place position, so that's awesome from where he started. But Tim Farr is right now 1 minute and 21 seconds behind Jamie McCoy. So he lost a little bit of ground there on that lap, and like we were saying, anything could happen. Hung up on a pile of brush or some lappers, but at least he's still going because that's more than what he could say after Florida.
And that can be made up. There's still time to make that up. There's something that can always happen. This morning, the 3rd place position person in the ace race broke a tie rod, and I saw him struggling, saw my opportunity, and got around him, but he was still out there going. So you never count anyone out until that checkered flag flies.
Wise words. Always keep the pedal down. As we are getting ready to round out our last lap here at Big Buck, we'll go ahead and take a short commercial break, and we'll come back with the final lap complete.
When it comes to protecting your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance truck owners demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Maxxis Tires.
Here at Rocky Mountain ATV MC, our goal has always been to get you the best price and provide quality service. Now, we're giving you one more reason to shop with Rocky Mountain. We call it Quick Cash. It's simple to get. Just place an order with a qualifying Quick Cash item and get cash to spend on your next order. Try it out today. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
The Andersons discovered life is easier with an Outlaw RV. The Outlaw is a complete home on wheels with a multifunctional garage. Getting on the road has never been quicker. The Outlaw is made to fit the lifestyle of today's active families. So stop roughing it and start enjoying your weekends. Find the Thor Motor Coach Outlaw that fits your needs at GarageRVs.com today.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser.
Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best?
The best.
You have to have the best equipment under the hood.
That's why
I only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
For those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
All right, back for the conclusion of this one with Chuck LeMasters and Jesse Strickland with us right now here in the studio. Man, oh man, what a turn of events. Our leader, Kyle Cheney, on the last lap went from 25.4 seconds down to about a 9-second lead, and already seeing some shakeups down here throughout the rest of the top 15, Chuck. This has been an amazing race, and once we talk about gaps and distances, we start seeing it take place right on the screen in front of our very eyes. So amazing situation here in front of us today.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to have this live screen in front of us that shows us time behind and sees, you know, because it makes all those mathematical calculations for adjusted time and the different rows and your starting positions. But, you know, David Plavy, he's worthy of a mention because he decisively won the XC2 class in Florida and got his way up into the overall top 3 on the podium. I said he was leading the XC2 class. Actually, John Yoakley is leading that class. John Yoakley, John Henry. There's a John up there, but it's John Henry. John Henry's in the 5th place overall, but he's actually piloting an XC2 machine. And so that puts him leading his class, 5th overall. David Plavy is 2nd in the XC2 class and 14th overall. So we've got the field is largely dominated by XC1 drivers this race here in Big Buck, South Carolina. But it's Kyle Cheney with a 9.7 second lead over Cody Miller, and then comes Jamie McCoy with about a minute behind. On our screen, it looks like we've got the number 321 car. There's a little too aggressive in that corner, and our ever so helpful mud fleas are going to wait for a safe opportunity to go over there and flip him back on his 4 wheels. There they go.
There we go.
We knew it was only a matter of time.
I could only assume that they were waiting for a safe time to do that.
You know, with all of the straps that we're strapped in there with the 5-point harness and everything, all you think is, oh, crap. And then you hit the ground. And
that's true.
There's not much you can do. You can only get unhooked so quickly, and then getting strapped back in, it's really not worth it to get out of the car and flip back over. It's better to wait because help usually does come.
Yeah, and you got 30 people standing right there. You're like, I know they'll help me, I think. Pretty sure. But, yeah, he's back up. He's going, and you've been through the checkered flag or the white flag gate by now. As we get an eye on Kyle Cheney, looks like Kyle Cheney is charging into the finish line area. And he is on a mission.
Yeah, look at that guy maneuver the car.
Oh, there he goes.
Through the corner, slide it through the corners. That checkered flag is out right now, and, you know, another win here for Cheney. No real surprise about that, although there are 8 to 10 guys that can win. Cheney had it dialed today.
Yeah,
no
he
two
did.
ways about it. And,
it's all about keeping the car going in any condition and staying on all 4s and riding smart, and it looks like Cheney did do that today.
Yeah, no
Perfect.
question about that. Looks like at this time our man Chuck is going to head down to the podium. Chuck, familiar with all these drivers, knows a lot about these guys' background, knows where they come from. So looking forward to listening to Chuck down on the podium with all of our drivers.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting down there and talking to these guys and find out how that race really unfolded. As I make my way down there, though, I'm going to pitch things over to our producer, who's going to thank our sponsors for this race, and we'll meet you back out there on the podium.
When it comes to guarding your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance enthusiasts demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond protection it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Razor, Ranger, Sportsman, Ace. If you live for the outdoors, there's a Polaris to match your passion. Confident, comfortable, capable. That's Ace. With a solo cockpit, automotive controls, independent suspension, all-wheel drive, and up to 45 horses of fuel-injected power. Calling it revolutionary would be an understatement. Polaris, the world leader in off-road innovation.
Maxxis Tires.
CST Tires.
You smell it, you feel it, you can taste it in the air. Speed, man. Full wide open. Blast. I didn't really like high school too much. Too booky, too take notes, learn this, and that's it. At WildTech, they had full-size motorcycles. The feeling of taking them apart every day, putting them back together. I can't explain it. Everything I learned applies to now. Seeing your motorcycle that you put together right around the track at 180 miles an hour, oh, definitely rewarding. My name is Mike. My school's WildTech.
Get on the fast track to a career. Turn pro at WildTech.
I've been with Leatt for a lot of years, and I know the dedication they have for safety. When they told me they were coming out with a helmet, I signed right up.
All right, we're back here live with RacerTV.com at the conclusion of our side-by-side race. Our UTV race looks like Kyle Chaney out of Pataskala, Florida, holding on for that win. Now, it was amazing. Kyle was up at about 25 seconds with 2 laps to go, and on that last lap, he started that lap with a gap of just about 9 seconds and ends up with a gap of almost 22 seconds. So Kyle Chaney making it happen here one more time. As we said, in the overall second position, the number 422 machine out of Greenville, Texas, Cody Miller putting in a heck of a drive there today. Jamie McCoy, he's on the 070 machine Polaris out of Kingsport, Tennessee. He runs in the 3rd place. Got a great ride for him today. In the 4th position, Tim Farr. Man, that guy worked his way up through the traffic today. An incredible, incredible race for him. The number 004 machine finishing in the 4th spot. Now, John Yoakley in the 5th position. He's on that 011 Can-Am. He comes out of Temkinville, Kentucky. As we said, finishing in the 5th position. Bill Patterson out of Morgantown, West Virginia, finishing in the 6th spot. John Henry out of Carmichael's, PA, in the 7th spot. Kevin Trantham, who we mentioned, got 2nd place this morning in our 4x4 Pro class in the ATV racing, finishing 8th here today. John Barnes, Rice's Landing, PA, in the 9th position. And in the 10th position, looks like Sean Bogdan. Now, our first XC2 driver, Jonathan Powers, finishing 11th overall. He's followed by Michael Swift, and then Seth Mitchell, our second XC2 Pro driver. And then amateur modified driver Josh Leketic in the 14th position. And rounding out the top 15, our XC2 third place podium finisher, David Plavy out of Elderton, PA. So give us just a few minutes. We're going to get our podium set down there, make sure we've got all our timing and scoring squared away, and we're going to join Chuck LeMasters down there on the podium for the post-race interviews. Now, what a day of racing we have had here today. The Big Buck did not disappoint. Amazing race. First thing this morning with our youth racers, Turbo Tim Soroka taking the win there this morning. Moved into our 10 o'clock race. Actually moved into our side-by-side race. And right now we've got an interview with Tim Farr, so we're going to go ahead and check that out. And I'm sorry, Turbo Tim this morning from his race. So we've got an interview with him. We're going to check that out and be right back with you.
Good morning, everybody. We're here with our first winner of the day at the Big Buck GNCC, Turbo Tim Soroka. Man, oh man, a little rough start there, but slowly pulled away, and by the end, man, had a manageable gap that gave you a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, I got a pretty good start. I got 3rd off the start, and then just stuck with Rhett and Dylan, and Dylan ended up making a mistake. I got around him, and then Rhett's chain derailed, and I got around him, and I was in the lead, and after that I just concentrated and just made it here.
Where were you able to pick up most of the time during the race?
Oh, I'd have to say mostly in the woods. It was really rough, and a lot of people were making mistakes, and I would just keep my head clear and try not to make no mistakes.
Yeah, that's the key. No mistakes. Hey, congratulations on your win here today, and we'll see you on the podium in just a minute.
Thank you.
Holy cow, if you watched that opportunity, if you had an opportunity to see that, if you go home and watch it on the archives, an incredible start there for Turbo, drifting that thing around the front. But we take a look at our VP Racing Fuels Big Buck overall results here in our UTV race. Kyle Chaney, as we said, in the #1 position. Cody Miller finished in second. Jamie McCoy in the 3rd position. The #4 machine of Tim Farr finishing in the 4th position. John Yoakley in 5th. Bill Patterson in 6th. John Henry finishing in 7th. The 8th spot going to Kevin Trantham. The 9th position belonged to John Barnes. And reconciling the top 10 looks like Sean Bogdan rounding it out for us. So another amazing race here, concluding our day at the Big Buck. But as we moved into our side-by-side race, another Yoakley there. Sam Yoakley was the overall winner today. An amazing race. As we moved into the 10 o'clock race, once again a split podium. John Glotta Jr. taking the overall. Then we had a super senior rider, Brian Halsey, in the 2nd position, and our 4x4 pro runner, Kevin Cunningham, rounding out that podium. So that was an exciting race there at 10 o'clock this morning. So it's been a full day of racing right here. And with that being said, we're going to get a few words from our sponsors at this time.
When it comes to protecting your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance truck owners demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Maxxis Tires.
Here at Rocky Mountain ATV MC, our goal has always been to get you the best price and provide quality service. Now, we're giving you one more reason to shop with Rocky Mountain. We call it Quick Cash. It's simple to get. Just place an order with a qualifying Quick Cash item and get cash to spend on your next order. Try it out today. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
The Andersons discovered life is easier with an Outlaw RV. The Outlaw is a complete home on wheels with a multifunctional garage. Getting on the road has never been quicker. The Outlaw is made to fit the lifestyle of today's active families. So stop roughing it and start enjoying your weekends. Find the Thor Motor Coach Outlaw that fits your needs at GarageRVs.com today.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser. Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best? The best. You have to have the best equipment under the hood. That's why I only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
For those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
All right, looks like we've got our podium lined up down there. Got our winners on top of the podium. Everybody's got their awards. Going to be sending it down to our man Chuck LeMasters here in just a moment. Going to be anxious to hear exactly what these guys have to say about the course and the action we had today during the race. So as we said, things changing with each and every lap out there today. It's been an amazing day of racing here from 8 o'clock this morning. And it looks like we've got Chuck on the podium right now there. And we're going to send it down to Pastor Chuck LeMasters right now.
All right, thanks, Megawatt. I am on the podium right now with our #1 of Kyle Chaney, #2 Cody Miller, #3 of Jamie McCoy. Everybody give it up for him real quick. Fantastic race today, guys. I'm going to start down here with our #3 of Jamie McCoy. Jamie, congratulations. This is podium #2 for this year.
Yes, thank you. We've been doing it about 3 years, and I've raced for a long time, and this is most competition. It's just the machine has got to stay together, and you got to get some finishes to be in at the end. But I got a lot of guys behind me. I'm 50 years old. I don't even know why they helped me, but I got GMZ tires. I got tire blocks, Desert Craft. You see that guy G-Force suspension right there? Every day he's doing something to my buggy. He is like more than a friend.
Well, it takes guys like that to keep these kind of cars running. And you said you've been doing this about 3 years?
I've done it 3 years, yes. I broke every round on the first year. I finished a real bad race, but I had started getting some finishes on the second year, and I come out swinging. So.
Oh, you sure did. I mean, come Florida or round number 1, now round number 2, you find yourself up here in the podium again. And consistency, as you know, the consistency in finishing races, not in consistently not finishing, is going to take you a long way in this.
Yeah, I've raced something for over 29 years, like I said, and Kyle Chaney and that boy right there, they're a bad man. I'd have liked to have met him when I was 25.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot for coming out here. You're certainly finding yourself at home here. Is there anyone else you'd like to give a shout out to?
Right there. Right there.
All right. It takes a team, doesn't it?
You know, and I got a wonderful family, and I'm self-employed, and I have 15 employees, and they're there digging every day so I can get out here and do this. And a guy every night, 6 o'clock, he calls and says, "Are we working?" And most of the time we are.
Well, congratulations on your success. We look forward to more seeing you at these races. All right, I'm going to make my way down here without falling. We'll come back to you in a second here, Kyle. But for now, we want to catch up with our number 2 of Cody Miller.
Thank you very much. It was a hard-fought race out there. This track is just carnage for these cars. There's stumps everywhere. They're about that tall, and they ripped everybody's cars to pieces. Thank God I've got, S3 built me some awesome arms. Can-Am has got a sweet product here with the Maverick XDS. Hauser Racing built the cage and everything, the tree bars. The only way I could make it around that track was to turn into the trees and the tree bars to push me out, and it was awesome. My start was terrible. Everybody took off. I had my foot on the gas, and my car wasn't running. And so until I collected myself and took off, everybody was in the second corner before I was in the first. And it took me a little bit to catch up to them. By the time I was, to my line, Kyle was already behind me. And the first time we hit a bottleneck, Kyle went right around, and I was like, all right, this is going to be a long race. But it went good. We pushed it hard the whole time. And Bernie, my passenger here, he had just gotten off his quad from the PM race, and it took a little bit to get on the line. But we got it going, and I couldn't be more happy with the second place finish after winning the first one in Florida. So I think that makes me first in points.
I think you're right. I think that 2 in a row here and being 1-2 is going to give you those valuable points and be able to chase after the championship this year.
Yeah. It's definitely it's in my sights. So I'm gonna push and do everything I can. I've got some great sponsors behind me. Matt Can-Am is their support is priceless, and Elko suspension, Maxxis tires, DWT wheels, Beard seats. These Lewis Power Sports. I don't have a pit board in front of me. I can't remember everything right now. But I really appreciate it. Hauser Racing has done a huge, huge favor for us this year in building these cars so that they have a lower center of gravity. And, it's a big deal. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and I can't say enough for all these people, but thank you very much.
Well, obviously, even with all the rough terrain out there and the tree stumps, your car's in one piece. You were able to make it, and that's first to finish. First, you have to finish. So here you are, and looks like you're going to have the points lead after this weekend. So congratulations, and we look forward to seeing more of you as the season goes on.
All right, thank you very much. We can't wait.
All right, absolutely. Move my way over here to the center of the box. So we've got Kyle Chaney with the Big Buck trophy. Hold that up nice and high. Always getting creative with our trophies, and here at the Big Buck, how fitting to have antlers, and congratulations to you, Kyle.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't have a really good ride in Florida. Well, we had a good ride going, and on the last lap we ended up getting stuck. And I really wanted to be on the podium. My Can-Am deserved to be there. I felt like we had the best car going into Florida, and I had the most training. And we spent a lot of time in Florida getting ready, and I was pretty bummed coming out of Florida. But I know once I got here, I had the best car, and I wanted to prove a point that Can-Am's the best. And, you know, I wanted to go out there. I usually don't go 100% right off the start. But right off the start, I'm like, you know, I want to get up front, and I want to get this thing up, and, you know, I want to cruise. I want to prove that the Can-Am's the best, and, you know, I think we did that today going 1-2. I mean, the guys up here are super fast. So, I mean, Cody won Florida and had an awesome ride today. He actually ended up catching me at the end of the race, but you know, I still had him on corrected time. But my co-pilot, you know, last second thing, she came in and jumped in there, and I think she had a good time. You know, she's used to desert racing, but I think she really enjoyed this.
I was going to say, it looks like you've traded in your co-pilot. We did have ATV super sensation Chris Bithell riding with you for a long time, and now you've got Miss Husqvarna here.
Yeah, Chris has a real job and had to go to work, so you'll have that. But like I said, my Can-Am worked awesome today, and you know, my Maxxis tires hooked up. Fox shocks did good. CT Raceworks, I got to thank them for building my cage and bumpers, and I mean, they built everything on this car, A-arms, sway bar. I mean, everything helped out today. My mechanic, Marshall, DWT wheels, you know, DWT wheels went 1-2 today. Like I said, so did Maxxis tires. Beard seats, my new MPI steering wheel, I think they're here, and man, that new steering wheel is, you know, it works good. So I'm sure there's people I'm forgetting, but like I said, I appreciate everybody. Factory UTV skid plates, but.
Well, you've got a strong team behind you, and it takes that kind of effort to put together a win like this, and you've got 2 championships behind you. The bullseye is big on your back right now, and you're doing what it takes to bring home another one.
I think the bullseye is on Cody's back. I'm chasing him now.
Yeah, it looks like we are shaping up to have a great battle this year, and as a spectator and a fan of this sport, we love that. We appreciate the effort of every single guy up here, and thanks. We look forward to seeing you yet again. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the sweet, sweet spoils of GNCC racing. All right, give it up for our winners.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as they celebrate down there on the podium, want to reflect just a little bit on a day of racing. Going to take a look one more time. Kyle Cheney, of course, with the overall. Cody Miller, followed by Jamie McCoy, Tim Farr, John Yoakley, Bill Patterson, John Henry, Kevin Trantham, John Barnes, Sean Bogdan. Going to take a few minutes down there on the podium, get things rearranged, and we'll join Chuck back down there in just a few minutes. All right. Yep, at this time, we're going to conclude our broadcast on RacerTV.com. On behalf of our host, Rodney Tomlin, I'm Matt Watson. I'd like to thank Fred Andrews, I'd like to thank Chuck LeMasters, and all our behind-the-scenes people, all of our cameramen, our producers, and everybody involved today. I'd like to say thanks to each and every one of them. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us here today at the Big Buck. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow when we do it all over again on 2 wheels. With that being said, be good to each other, have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.